بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah, and may peace and blessings be upon His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. It's another talk regarding the month of Ramadan and what is the rules of the Siyam, as we have started, alhamdulillah, last time to talk about the purpose of the Siyam, and we said that the purpose is actually to attain the taqwa and get closer to Allah, and the person who does not fulfill his obligation regarding the core and the theme and the wisdom behind it, then he's not really attaining what Allah wants him from that hukum or from that ibadah. And we said as well that the prayer itself was made for you to make sure that you are not indulging into haram. So for those who make the prayer yet they do the haram things, they have lost the purpose of the salah. And the people, they are keen to make sure that there isn't anything that would invalidate their ibadah in terms of materialistic wise, which is important, but they should be as well as keen as possible to make sure that those things which are not to do with the materialistic, the spiritual ones, like the sincerity. Like for example, in the prayer, the person, he makes sure that he is in his prayer. He is not just like perfecting his wudu and his ruku' and his sujood, but also making sure that he is in his prayer with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Same thing with the fast. He makes sure that he abandons all these things that the Prophet ﷺ, he said that they are the breakers and the invalidators of the fast spiritually, like slandering and backbiting and testimony of the haram and all of that, which is to do with the fahisha, with the munkar. And tonight inshallah we'll be talking about the materialistic breakers in details, and we will see also some of the principles which will govern us when we talk about these issues. First of all, the breakers of the fast, the materialistic one, are to be 7 and 2 incontrovertible. 7 with the 2 incontroversial makes it 9. Those 7 with the 2 controversial one, which are the 9, are of 2 categories. Category number 1, which is the fast, which we call the breakers, which we call them, that they are breakers that they have no control under the human being, which are the 2 menses and postnatal. And the other breakers, they are ikhtiyariya, under your choice, so you are the one in control, and they are the following. Number 1, food. Number 2, the drink. Number 2, the drink. And number 3 is the intercourse. Those 3 are mentioned in the Quran. Number 4 is the nourishment injection, which is mentioned in general in the Quran and the Sunnah, which is to do with al-mizan, the analogy, which is that we judge something according to what is relevant into the Sharia. And the 5th one, which is mentioned in the Sunnah, that is the deliberate vomit. And those are, as I said, the ones which are under your choice. So I'll repeat them again: food and drink, intercourse, and the nourishment injection. The 5th one, deliberate, that is vomit. The 2 ones which are controversial, we could add them to make them 7 now. The ones which are ejaculation of the sperm, and the other one which is the hijama. So to eliminate the hijama and the ejaculations, first of all, the hijama, that the scholars have said that the hijama is to break the fast, they depended upon a hadith, which is hadith sahih, that is aftar al-hajim wal-mahjum. The person who does the cupping and the one who's the cupping done on him are or have broken the fast. This hadith is sahih, as I said, but it is abrogated. And the abrogation comes from narrations, like from Anas radiallahu anhu and from Jabir ibn Abdullah, that the Prophet ﷺ, he gave us the permission to have hijama while we are fasting. And the other one, that the Prophet himself had hijama while he was fasting. So when he gave us the permission, it entails that the hijama does not break the fast. As for the ejaculation, there is no such thing that there is a proof in the Quran and the Sunnah to say that the ejaculation is similar to the intercourse. Because those who had said that the ejaculation breaks the fast, they did not themselves entail the same punishment for those who are done the intercourse. So they did not put the, what we call it, al-khaffar al-ghalira, the heavy penalty. So why is it that if they have said it is similar, so why don't they as well implement the same punishment for that, or the same penalization? So because of that, it is simple to reject their argument, and we say that ejaculation does not break the fast. And anybody want to go ahead and discuss this issue? We are ready for that, but 100% it does not break the fast, because we don't have a proof whatsoever from the Quran or the Sunnah. The strongest one that Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen brings is just, he says there's 2 hadith are involved, and those 2 hadith, they are talking about that the Prophet ﷺ, he was talking about making a intercourse with your wife is to be sadaqah. In the hadith it says, أَرَأَيْتُمْ لَوْ أَنَّهُ وَضَعَهَا. If you could just see that if he had put, I mean the shahwa of his, the lust, into haram, would he be sinned? He said, yes, Messenger of Allah. He said, then well, if he put it into halal, then it will be rewarded. So that is the proof for that. But that is, as I said, is a proof which is not strong. In the second hadith, it talks about as well, يَدَعُ طَعَامَهُ وَشَهْوَتَهُ. He leaves off his ta'am and his shahwa. And we say that the shahwa, we cannot widen the word shahwa to mean that is the ejaculation, because shahwa is a word which means lust. It includes intercourse, it includes the ejaculation, it includes the kissing, it includes the embracement, it includes the hugging. So all of that. So what is the proof to say it is including the ejaculation and not to include the embracement? And we know that the Prophet of Allah كان يباشر الرسول. He used to embrace. And mubashara means the woman with the man with no clothes, body to body touching. And I don't understand that the woman and the man, they're going to be with no clothes, there will be no shahwa. It's impossible. There's no such thing that you kiss somebody and you say that you flick the shahwa off and flick the shahwa on. There's no such thing like this. So those who had said this, they're very, very weak in their argument. So ejaculation, it does not break the fast. That means the person may embrace his wife, kiss his wife, do whatever he likes, in order to bring out his ejaculation, it does not break his fast. But we say, من حام حول الحمى أو شك أن يقع. That the person needs to make sure that he can keep control of himself, because when you are in such situation, normally it is the case, it does not stay like this. And if it happened in intercourse, then you have actually entailed upon you the heavy penalty. All of those breakers that we have said, the 5, which is under the choice which we agreed upon, and we said that there are other 2 which were not agreed upon, and those ones, they incur the penalty of that the person has to fast a day instead, or to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if he did the intercourse, then if he had intercourse with his wife in the days of Ramadan, while fast is obligatory upon him, then the following are to be the penalties. While we said we have to intercourse, so we took away the ejaculation. While we said it's in the month of Ramadan, we took away, that is, you have intercourse with your wife on a day which is not in Ramadan, that compensating the day of Ramadan, that the penalty will not be there. Do you understand me? So it's to be in the month of Ramadan. Third one, it has to be that the husband has, and the wife, the obligatory fast upon them. So if, for example, they happen to be travelers or sick in the day of Ramadan, they're allowed to intercourse, no problem about that. So there have to be these 3 conditions. Condition number 1, that intercourse. Condition number 2, it has to be in the day of Ramadan. Condition number 3, those two who are making this, they're having the fast obligatory upon them. If it is the case, then the penalty will be as follows. Number 1, they will be sinned. Number 2, they have invalidated the day. Number 3, they have to compensate for that day. Number 4, they have to, and please, whatever it is, document that so you don't really forget it. Number 4, they have to, that is, have a choice, have this following penalty, which is number 1, that is to free a slave. If they don't free a slave, they can't have free slave because they haven't got it, then fast 60 days. If they can't, then they go to feed 60 people, poor people. Those are the 4 penalties. The 5th one that some of the scholars entail upon them, we don't have a proof of that, which is, they say that they has to uphold, or to withhold from, abstain from eating for the rest of the day. That is, cannot be fulfilled because we don't have a proof for that, because of the respect of the day, they say. So number 1, he sinned. Number 2, he had invalidated the day. Number 3, he has to compensate for that day. Number 4, he has to do one of the followings according to the order. Number 1, free a slave. If he can't, fast 60 days. If he can't, feed 64 people. Number 5, which is negotiable. Did you write them down, please? Because I could really ask the people who are writing them, so I could discuss what I've missed here or I did not miss. So we said that a person who makes intercourse with his wife, and it is on the day of Ramadan, and both of them, they were having the fasts to be obligatory. The penalties will be as follows. Number 1, that they will be sinned. Number 2, they invalidated the day. Number 3, they have to make up for that day. Number 4, they have to do one of the following, which is free a slave. If they can't, fast 60 days. If they can't, then we what? They feed 64 people. The 5th one, we said, we have no proof for that. The scholars, they say, he has to abstain from food for the rest of the day. We don't have a proof to say that, because they've validated the day. I mean, the day is broken already, so why is it that they have to stop? For example, they wanted to cause again. Well, this is an entailed punishment which we cannot really verify it properly, or strongly, I could say. Right, now the food and the drink and the intercourse and the vomit and the injection for nourishment, those are the 5 that we have agreed upon to be al-mufattirat al-ikhtiyariyah, the ones who are under your choice. The 6th and the 7th are al-ittirariyah, the ones you have no control, the menses and the postnatal. And the 2 controversial ones which we did not make them as to be breakers from the ones which are under your choice, under your control, that is the ejaculation and the cupping, which is the hijab. Now, food or drink, it doesn't matter whether that food or that drink is beneficial or not beneficial. It doesn't matter whether it's consumable or not consumable. As long as it goes from the normal holes, they are the nose and the mouth. What is the proof for that? Prophet Allah said, exaggerate into gargling and sniffing the water when you make the wudu, unless you are fasting. So we know from that these 2 holes, they lead to the stomach. As for the one who's putting ear drops or eye drops, and yet he's feeling that in his mouth, we'll just say to him, spit it out. But simply that you put an ear drop or eye drop to say that you broke the fast, that's not really correct. Right, so the food and the drink, we said, whether it's beneficial or not beneficial. Whether this food is, for example, normal food, or that food, for example, is a piece of paper. You chewed it and you swallowed it, that will break your fast. Piece of cloth, piece of wood, it doesn't matter. the drink, whether it is a beneficial drink or whether it is one of those that will kill you, like diesel or petrol or poison. It will break your fast. And for the fourth one, which is the vomit, we said the vomit that is deliberate. The deliberate vomit is the one that the person, he forces himself to vomit, or he puts his hand in his mouth. But the vomit that you've been overcome with it, overwhelmed with it, you don't have any power, and it came out, it will not break your fast. As for the nourishment injection, all injections are not to be breakers of the fast, except for that one which is used to compensate for the food or the drink. We call it the drip. That drip goes not into the nostril, nor it goes into the mouth, it goes into the blood. Because of that mizan, the scale that we have talked about, so this will break the fast of the person, because a person in such situation, he is not supposed to fast anyway, because he is very ill. So that drip is also a breaker of the fast. As for the postnatal and the menses blood, we say that those, if the woman, she has it, regardless whether she did not get cleansed before Fajr or she had it just before sunset, it will invalidate their fast. They're not allowed to pray, nor to fast, but they have to compensate for their fast, but they don't have to compensate for their prayers. So, whether the menses came 1 minute before sunset, or the menses did not stop until after Fajr, then they may not consider that day to be a fasting day. Postnatal blood is the postnatal that comes out after the child is born. Usually is the case, maximum of it is 40 days, but the woman, when the blood hair stops, then she resumes her ibadah from the fast and the prayer. So those are the invalidators. Now, the ones which are under your choice, again, they are food and drink, intercourse, and the fourth one is the nourishment injection. The fifth one, which is the deliberate vomit, they will break your fast if they fulfill the following four conditions. Condition number one is the person is to be knowledgeable. Knowledgeable of the rule and knowledgeable of the time. Knowledgeable of the hukum and knowledgeable of the waqi', the situation, the current situation. Those are very important because the opposite of the knowledge is ignorance. So, this is the first condition. The second condition is the person has to be remembering. So the opposite of remembering is if the person is forgot. Condition number three is the person's, that is, consent, deliberate. The opposite of the consent or deliberate, he made a mistake. Condition number four is the choice. And the opposite of the choice is being forced. Those are the four conditions. If they're not there, then those five, which is, we call them invalidators by choice, will not invalidate. The first one, which is the ignorance, as we said in the rule, or ignorance of the current situation, which we call it the surroundings. This is supported by the Quran and also by the Sunnah. رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَّسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. This is a general ayah, which is enough. O Lord, that do not hold us responsible for what we are forgetting and what we are making a mistake. And the mistake here is the opposite, which is called ignorance, because we are ignorant. Mistake is a general word, under which comes a mistake which is not deliberate, and a mistake as well, which is that you have done it out because of your ignorance. And the hadith, you could find the hadith number one, that is hadith of Asma radiallahu anha in Sahih al-Bukhari, that she said that we have broken our fast on the time of the Prophet of Allah on a day which was cloudy. In that hadith, we understand, for verily, that number one, the Prophet of Allah did not command them to redo that day. So that day was accepted. Even though they have broken the fast, the hadith continuation, the hadith says that we have broken the fast on a day which was cloudy. We thought that the sun was set and the sun had appeared. Yet the hadith does not say that the Prophet of Allah, what did he say to them? But we know for a fact that the Sharia will not allow such a thing, that to go ahead if it's a mistake by the companions, unless there will be a correction. So the Prophet of Allah did not correct to the companions, even though you could argue, well, he didn't know, well, revelation will tell him. And that is why the hadith is considered to be proof that the companions were not commanded to do that day. That means because of their jahl, ignorance regarding the time, they didn't know. They thought it was sunset. They did not. So this is the first thing that we learn from this hadith. The second thing, that how fast that the companions, they have broken their fast. They did not say to each other that let's wait for precautionary measures because it's a cloudy day. Those are the Sahaba, because they themselves would practice the following. So when they see the sun, for example, is about to set, they've already embedded in them, because of their practice, how long does it take for that sun to come down into the horizon. So when the cloud came, they did not break the fast quickly, but they thought it's enough time for that sun to disappear. But they made a wrong. So they broke the fast because they wanted to implement the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where it says that my ummah is upon good as long as they hasten the breaking of the fast. So that is what our Shaykh al-Albani used to teach us. That is to learn as a student of knowledge and to start calculating. So for example, he says that when you see the sun is about to set, you have your own stopwatch. You see that the sun disk is from the bottom touching the horizon. Start your stopwatch. And then count how many seconds it takes for that full disk until it disappears completely. The reason behind this, if you do that, then if, for example, you've seen the sun disk touching the horizon, then a cloud came, you don't have to look for the sun, because you know already how long does it take for that disk to go down. So you will break the fast even when the cloud is there. So this hadith of Asma says to us that the person, if he's not knowing the situation, the surroundings, and he was jahil in that, ignorant, then he will not be taken responsible for that. The same thing had happened at the time of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, where the companions, they had been watching for the sun, and the sun was obscured by a cloud. So Umar ibn Khattab commanded them to break the fast because he thought definitely the sun had set. When the cloud had disappeared, actually they had broken the fast before the sun, because the sun had appeared. It shows us that that how companions were keen to break their fast. None of them, Prophet Muhammad said, even we did not fall short, we did not do a sin by breaking the fast in that way. So this is as well from the companions, which is at the time of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. An example of that could happen these days. A person who is in his, for example, bedroom, next to him is sandwich or a drink, then he looks at the clock in his bedroom and it says, for example, 2 o'clock. So he's got about an hour or so to have his sahur. He had eaten his sahur, then he went down to the kitchen, and then he realized that clock which he had in the bedroom was wrong. And it was already 3:30 in the morning. So it's well after the Fajr. Then there is no problem, he just stops, and because he was not knowing the proper time, so he's ignorant about the surrounding, ignorant about the time. The second ignorance, that is an excuse, because you have to be, if that fast breaker to be a breaker, you have to be knowledgeable about the rule. The rule, the same thing as I said, the ayah, But the hadith which is more specific, hadith Adi ibn Hatim al-Ta'i radiyallahu anhu. One embraced Islam and he was reciting the Quran and he was implementing what he recited onto the day of Ramadan. So he was fasting, reading that verse, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. Eat and drink until you distinguish, and I'm now translating literally, word to word, until you distinguish the white thread from the black thread, from the dawn. ثُمَّ أَتِمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Then continue the fast until, continue the fast until the sunset. So what he did, he went to Iqal. Iqal means the tether of the camel, the rope that you hold the camel with. One is black and one is white. He put them underneath his pillow, and during the night he started to eat. And every time he pulled the ropes, that is, and he will look at them, and if he still doesn't distinguish between the white and the black, he keeps eating. He puts them back. And remember, there was no electricity at that time, so it's pitch darkness. So he kept looking at them. Every time he doesn't see them, that he keeps eating. And of course, if you know that the Fajr, as soon as the Fajr comes out, you're not going to see those black, the white. He kept eating. And the following day he went to the Prophet ﷺ and he told him. Prophet ﷺ, he laughed and he smiled and he said, verily, إِذَنْ إِنَّ لَوِسَادَكَ لَعَرِيضٌ طَوِيلٌ. So verily, your pillow must be a really big one, white one. MashaAllah, that you have really been eating and drinking well into the Fajr. So he said, إِنَّمَا هُوَ اللَّيْلِ. Verily, he's talking about Allah, the night. So you're distinguishing the Fajr from the night. إِذَنْ إِنَّ وِسَادَكَ إِذَنْ لَطَوِيلٌ عَرِيضٌ. So here, Adi ibn Hatim, the proof from this, that he was ignorant about the what? About the what? About the rule. Not about the surrounding. About the what? Hukum, the rule. He was ignorant about the rule. Because of that, Prophet ﷺ did not command him to what to do that particular day, even though he was eating well into the Fajr. Even though he was eating well into the Fajr. So, إِنَّ وِسَادَكَ لَطَوِيلٌ عَرِيضٌ. Right, now this is, we said, الْجَهْلُ بِالْحُكْمِ وَالْوَاقِعِ. Right, so if a person, for example, these days an example for this, is eating a piece of paper and swallowing it while he's fasting, we said to him, well, it breaks your fast. I didn't know. So we said to him, okay, well you know now, stop eating papers. Because he didn't know that the piece of paper does not break the fast, then because of that rule, we said, al-jahlu bil-hukm. He is not knowledgeable about the rule of that the piece of paper will break his fast. So does that piece of paper break his fast? No. What is the proof? The ayah that we have mentioned, and the hadith of Adi ibn Hatim al-Ta'i. Okay. A man, let me just see how paying attention you are, guys. A man who had made intercourse with his wife on the day of Ramadan. And he didn't know that he has to do this heavy penalty. He didn't know that he has to do the heavy penalty, which is to free the slave, to fast the 60 days. If you can't, then you have to feed 60 people. So he came to you and he said, I have intercourse with my wife. And I'm really jahil. I'm ignorant. So you say to him, okay, well, you have to do the following, free a slave, and so on and so forth. I didn't know that. So, is that an excuse for him not to do the hukum or not? Put your finger up if you know, please, and then I'll ask. Tafadhal. No excuse. Why?
Because he knows that fasting is fun.
He knows the fasting is fun. He's not supposed to touch his wife, intercourse with his wife. So he knew he was not ignorant regarding the rule. What he was ignorant about? The penalty. So let's have this as a principle. being ignorant from the penalty, what is entailed on the rule, does not give you an excuse. And I'm going to explore into that principle in a minute, inshallah. So being not aware of the penalty on such a thing, but you know it is not allowed, it does not save you from the what? From the sin, from the penalty. And the proof for that man who came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he had intercourse with his wife. So he said to the Prophet of Allah, Ahlaktu, or halaktu, I've had it. What have you done? I have intercourse with my wife. All right, then free a slave. Messenger of Allah, I don't have a slave. I don't own a slave. Fast 60 days. I cannot, Messenger of Allah. Okay, feed 60 people. 60 poor people. Say, Messenger of Allah, on poorer than my family, for verily by Allah, between the two mountains in Medina, there is nobody poorer than me. Prophet ﷺ laughed. And he had pushed for him some baskets which is made of dates, which is being given to him as a sadaqah. He said to him, wait, and the sadaqah came to him. He gave to him, and he said, give to the poor people, including your family. Now this is a question. Was he ignorant about the rule? Or was he knowledgeable? Put your finger up there, don't shake. They're covered. He knew the rule. How do you know that he knew the rule? He has had it. That's it. When he said, I had it, that means he knew it's not allowed. He knew it's not allowed. Right. So, but did he know about what was entailed? What was entailed on that punishment? What did he know about the punishment? How? What's the proof? So that's why he asked the Prophet of Allah. Otherwise he would have done it himself. So he asked the Prophet of Allah. That's why he didn't know about the rule. But he knew it was haram. But he didn't know what was the punishment. Can anybody give me an example like this, where the person knows it is haram, but he doesn't know what is the punishment? Anybody put your finger up, please? Fadal Arfan. Huh? Ma'az. The Ma'az. What did he do, Ma'az? Then zina. And he did zina, which is called adultery. And he was what? Married. He did it with his neighbor. The women crossed the road. Okay? So he went to the Prophet of Allah. Did he know it's haram? How did he know it's haram? Because he went to the Prophet of Allah. Right. Even he asked the ones who were looking after him, can you go and ask the Prophet of Allah? I said, no, I'm not going to ask. You go and ask. So you go to the Prophet of Allah and ask. You ask. I'm not going to ask on your behalf. You go and ask. So he went there and he said, Prophet of Allah, purify me. That means he's done something mistake. Did he know about the implementation of what this is? Did he? How did you know that he didn't know? No? So he said, when he is about to be now stoned to death, he said, oh my God, they have conned me. They left me to go home to the Prophet to be stoned. He didn't know. So does that save him from the punishment? You say, no, he didn't know about the punishment. Let we just pardon him? No. So if you know stealing is haram, yet you didn't know what is the punishment of stealing, it does not save you from the amputation of the hand. Okay? Another example. This person is called Salama ibn Sakhr al-Biyadi. Biyada is a tribe from the big tribe, it's called Banu Zurayq. Okay, Biyada is from Banu Zurayq. This Salama, he said, verily, I used to like to intercourse with my wife, a lot. And in the month of Ramadan came, and I was scared that I will be intercoursing during the night and I cannot pull before Fajr. So I'm still with her. So I said to myself, to make sure that I'm not going to be doing this, he said, you are anti alayya ka dhahri ummi. You are the back of my mother. That means I cannot approach you. Why he did that? In order to what? To save himself not to touch his wife. Now, he had now stopped touching his wife day and night. During the day, it's not allowed, but during the night, it's allowed. But even during the night, he doesn't want, because He said, because I love that, and I was scared not to pull out before Fajr. I'm going to stay with her and then I will have a heavy penalty. So he did that. Radiallahu anhu. These guys, subhanAllah, they're living in an environment where there is no, like these days, pornography and everywhere. And person's even lust is gone, finished. Where's the lust? Finished. And these people, they're living in an environment different from our environment. So, he said, one day in the month of one night, not during the day, during the night. He said, one night during the month of Ramadan, something had exposed from her leg. I couldn't control himself, so I did the intercourse. Even though I said, I jumped. I couldn't control myself. Then after he had finished, he realized. He went to the Prophet ﷺ. Before he went to the Prophet, he went to his family. Asked them to come with him to the Prophet of Allah. They said, no. We're scared we're going to have shame upon us. Quran will be revealed because of you. Onto the tribe of Banu Zulayq. There's a big tribe called Banu Zulayq. I'm scared. You go to the Prophet of Allah, we're not going to have that verse because of you and make us feel shame for the rest of our life. So he went to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, Messenger of Allah, I've done this. He said, you are the one? I said, you are the one? You are the one 3 times. Yes, me, Messenger. Go ahead. Let the rule of Allah be upon me, he said. Famdi fi hukmi Allahi fi. Let the rule of Allah go into me. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, free a slave. So I said with my hand like this, I don't own any slave except for myself. لا أملك إلا رقبتي. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, fast 60 days. Messenger of Allah, I couldn't control myself from my wife for 30 days. Am I going to be able to control myself from my wife for 60 days? It's impossible. That's common sense. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, okay, feed 60 people. Messenger of Allah, Wallahi, I just left my family, they didn't have the supper, they didn't have food for the night. I mean, I'm very poor. He said, okay, go to Bani Zulayq. Who's Bani Zulayq? His big tribe, his own tribe. Go to Bani Zulayq and ask them for the sadaqah. Let them give you the sadaqah. So after he had this, he went to Bani Zulayq, which is his own tribe, who would ask them before to come with him to the Prophet of Allah. So I went to the Prophet of Allah. I went to you first, and I found you are so strict on me. You didn't give me anything that I wanted. And I went to the Prophet of Allah and I found everything that I want. I didn't find anything from you except for harshness, and I found the Prophet ﷺ mercy. So give me your sadaqah now. Give me your sadaqah. The sadaqah of yours. So he took the sadaqat and he gave to the poor people. To the Prophet, he said the Prophet would take whisk, which is about 60 sa'. Each sa' is 4 handful. Give it to the poor people. What is it? The person stuff on there? Oh, okay. So give the 60 sa', give that 60 sa', one whisk to the poor people, and the rest give to your family as well. So that's another rule. He didn't know the implementation of that hukum, but he knew that he's not allowed to do it. Now, coming from that and exploration of this, we say that the person's ignorance regarding the rule of a matter, if he had left something which is commanded with, he is not excused. But if he was ignorant regarding the rule of something by embarking upon something which is haram, then he's excused. I'm going to repeat that principle to understand. I'll give you an example. So we said before that al-jahlu bil-hukmi udhr, that is, to be ignorant about the rule is to be an excuse. But the ignorance about the implementation of that rule, the penalty, it is not an excuse. Now we're saying that al-jahlu bil-hukmi بفعل مأمور ليس بمعذور والجهل بالحكم بارتكاب محظور فهو معذور. A person embarked upon is ignorant regarding something, regarding like a hukum, a rule. Yet this rule is to do with implementation of something that is being commanded with. Then there is no excuse. Or, can somebody tell him it was really loud? Somebody recording with his in, huh? Yeah. I'm feeling that somebody's asking me a question, so I'm stopping. And the rule, so in the prayer, does he do as well the same thing, Galina? Does it? Oh, you should tell him. Yeah. No, it's based upon not this, based upon the understanding of us that we have to speak to make us ourselves audible to us. That is based upon. And we need to tell the people, all you need is to do what? So if somebody with sign language or writing to him, to make him just moving the lips is enough. Because I know it's not just him, lots of people. Next to you, say, it's not everybody else. So to make sure that you make them understand that is not from the Sunnah. It's actually the service of the others. So they know that because I ensure that these people that do it because they're scared and their prayer is what? Is invalid. So we teach the people, inshallah. We, for example, come from a background, as in general the Arabs. As soon as the Imam says Allahu Akbar, you hear them, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. As soon as they mention Allahu Akbar, going to jihad, Allahu Akbar. No, sorry, no noise. And he, while the Imam is, for example, reading, he joins in, he's Allahu Akbar. So you know that he's coming in, mashallah. Right, okay. So you have to learn the Sunnah. It's not like you join the prayer in this way. What time is that? 9. Please wait. Stop. Stop noticing 9:01. Right. So, if the person is ignorant regarding the rule of embarking upon something which is prohibited, it's an excuse. But if he's ignorant regarding the rule of something that he must do, which is a hukum, that is a compulsory, that is not an excuse. Example of this. Let's just say, for example, a person who is now praying with a garment, and that garment is got najasa. Najasa, what is najasa? Impurity. So he's not supposed to pray with a garment except it's what? Pure. So he prayed and finished the prayer. So we said to him, you had najasa onto your thought. I didn't know that I should remove that najasa. Is he excused from that? Excused from the sin or sin we're talking about? Is he going to repeat the prayer or not repeat the prayer? Put your finger up and I'll ask you. Further. Repeat it, he says. Why? Okay, is there somebody else? He knew it, but he didn't know that he should not have najasa. He didn't know, he was ignorant that the najasa should be removed. Now, okay, so he says, repeats it, someone doesn't repeat it because he's ignorant about the rule. Okay, I'm going to repeat the question now for somebody else. Then we'll understand the difference. Person, he had eaten, that is camel meat, and he prayed. So we say to him, verily brother, you have to repeat the prayer. Why? Because your meat, which you have eaten from the camel, had invalidated your wudu. You need to make wudu again. Should he repeat the prayer or his prayer is accepted? I didn't know that, eating the camel meat will invalidate my wudu. Let's do examples here. According to the principle, I've told you should really listen. The principle is as follows. Person who is ignorant about the rule of a matter regarding something that you must do compulsory, it is not going to be excuse. You have to do that. A person who is ignorant of embarking upon something which is not allowed to do, it is an excuse. Yalla ya'rifan. He has to repeat what? The one who are eating the camel. Why? Okay. Correct. So this person who had eaten the camel meat, now he had left something which he must do, which is what? The wudu. So he has to repeat the prayer. Whereas the person who prayed with najasa in his thawb, and he didn't know that najasa had to be removed. He had been ignorant regarding embarking upon something which is what? Not allowed. So his prayer is what? Accepted. Do you understand the difference now? I'll repeat that with a different example, make it clear for you. A person, he had prayed, and he knows the najasa is not allowed on the thawb. Understand me? He's supposed to purify. But he forgot to clear that najasa. He prayed. After the prayer, said, brother, the najasa on your thawb, impurity, a poo, whatever. Oh, I didn't know. That's number one. Second, man, he prayed, but he forgot to make the wudu. So, what is your rule regarding these two people? Please tell me. The first one and the second one. Does the first one repeat the prayer? Should that first one not repeat the prayer? The second one should repeat the prayer. Again, one, he had forgotten that there was najasa in his thawb. He knows the najasa is not allowed. After the prayer, he found the najasa. Should he repeat the prayer? Should he not? Second one, after he prayed, I'm not on wudu, I didn't make wudu. Should he repeat the prayer or not? Yeah, tafadhal.
The one with the najasa on his clothes, one repeats. But the one without them, one repeats. It's not one.
What is the rule? They based upon your answer with?
Because salat's without wudu, then it's symbolic.
Okay. What about the one which is prayed on the najasa?
Because he got the wudu, but he doesn't know.
Actually, you got the right answer, but not really the right explanation. I want it according to the principle. The principle says, if you are ignorant regarding the rule of a matter which is to do with embarking upon something which is prohibited, then you are excused, no problem. But if you are ignorant regarding something that you must do, which is obligatory upon you, then you are not excused. You have to do it again. So this person who had prayed with something najasa on his thawb, he forgot to remove it. He knows haram. He had embarked on mahdhur, which is not allowed to do. Because of that, he forgot. He's forgotten, he's ignorant. Because of that, he is excused. Whereas the person, for his prayer, that he forgot to make the wudu, he must make wudu. It's compulsory, ma'mur. You've been ordered to make the wudu. Because you forgot that ma'mur, then you need to do what? The prayer. Is that understood, everybody? By this, you'll understand how the scholars will understand, they make the answer to the questions. Okay? Yes? Clear, inshallah. Every question, you return to these two principles, then you'll know. I don't have a question on that. There's no question. Okay. Right, after the question, you can clarify. Right. After this, we're going to go to the second condition. Second condition for the 5 invalidators of the fast to be invalidators. I repeat them again. Food, drink, intercourse, deliberate vomit, and the nourishment injection. Those 5 breakers, we will say that they will not break their fast until they fulfill those 4 conditions. Condition 1, which it has to be knowledgeable. And the opposite of the knowledgeable is what? Ignorant. And the knowledgeable is in 2 things. Knowledgeable of the rule and knowledgeable of the what? Of that situation. Remember the surroundings, the time. The second condition is that he has to have what? Huh? Which one? You said it. What is the second condition, Dr. Suhaib? You've been writing. Remembrance. So if he forgot, show me that you are following me. Otherwise I'm speaking Germany here. Remembrance. So if you have forgotten, so it's not a break. So the person had food, or drank, or intercourse with his wife. Yet he forgot that he was fasting. إِنَّمَا أَطْعَمَهُ اللَّهُ وَأَسْقَى. Whether it's food or drink or intercourse. إِنَّمَا أَطْعَمَهُ اللَّهُ وَأَسْقَى. For verily, Prophet ﷺ, he said, Man akala, he who had eaten, and yet he had forgotten. Then فَإِنَّمَا أَطْعَمَهُ اللَّهُ وَأَسْقَاهُ وَلَا شَيْءَ عَلَيْهِ. There is nothing to be done, there is no compensation. Allah has given him the food, Allah has given him the drink. That is the hadith regarding this issue. As for the ayah, which is the general ayah, again, رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا وَأَخْطَأْنَا. O Lord, don't take us on account for something that we forgot or for something we've done as a mistake. So these are the 2 proofs for this incident. So if a person had seen someone who is about to eat or to drink, or is eating and drinking while he's fasting in the month of Ramadan, you should tell him off. Not to say, well, I have to leave him because maybe Allah is giving him the food or the drink. No, I have to tell him, you stop eating, brother, stop drinking because you're fasting. Then he would say to me, for example, I'm a traveler, or I'm an old man. Oh, thank you very much because you reminded me I'm actually fasting. So whether this or that, you have to tell that person. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. We're going to be, inshallah, closing the session with the questions. The invalidators of the breakers, we said there are two types. One, which is the ones that you have control of, and the ones which you have no control of. The ones that you have no control of is for the women, they are the menses and the postnatal. And we say to the sisters, it's not really encouraged for you to go and take tablets in order for you to postpone your menses, just leave it in the natural way. As for the other ones which are under your control, which we call them al-ikhtiyariyah, under your choice, they are the following breakers. Breaker number 1, food. 2, drink. 3, that is the marital relation, the intercourse. Number 4, the deliberate vomit. And number 5 is the nourishment, the injection. We said there are 2 controversial ones, which we have eliminated to be the breakers, the ejaculation, and the other one is the cupping. Those 5 invalidators that we have mentioned under your choice, they will not invalidate your fast, except that they fulfill the following 4 conditions. Condition number 1, that is, person has got knowledge regarding the surroundings and knowledge regarding the room. I'll explain that. And the opposite of knowledge is ignorance. And the second one that we've been talking about just before the time of the Maghrib prayer is the remembrance. The person, if he does not remember, he forgot, then it will be an invalidator. It will not be an invalidator. Now the third one, which is that we said the consent. So if the person is not deliberate, and the opposite of that is the person has done a mistake. And the proof for that, the same ayah, رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا وَأَخْطَأْنَا. And also, number of, that is, which is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where the person is not taken by his mistakes. So, for example, if the person is now taking wudu, and he knows that the water will break his fast, and he knows it is Ramadan, so he's got the knowledge, and he is deliberately putting the water in his mouth. But while he's rinsing his mouth, some of the water went inside, but without his consent. That will not break his fast, because he made a mistake. So the person who had, for example, taken petrol from one car to another, while he was fasting, and he knows that petrol breaks his fast, while he's sucking from the hose pipe, some of the petrol went inside himself, inside his stomach. It will not break his fast because it was not what? Deliberate. Person, he came to a house which is full of incense, which is the bakhur, and he smelt it, and he went inside his nostrils. It will not be counted as breaker of the fast because it was not deliberate, without his consent. The difference between this and another person who brings the incense to his nostrils and he starts what? Inhaling it. And because that incense has got particles that goes inside, it will break his fast. So you could understand the difference. A person who is brushing his teeth with fluoride, and he knows that fluoride will break his fast, and he was making sure nothing will go inside, but he made a mistake, he swallowed it without his consent, it will not break his fast. And this is, the consent is under the ayah which says, وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ فِي مَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ بِهِ وَلَكِنْ مَا تَعَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. That is, there is no harm upon you for what you do as a mistake, but what you have deliberately, your heart deliberately have done. And the fourth condition is, that is, your choice. It is not being forced. The proof for that, what happened to Ammar ibn Yasir radiallahu anhu, when he's being forced to make kufr. and disbelief in Muhammad ﷺ, which he had done to save his life. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, He sent regarding himself, إِلَّا مَنْ أُكْرِهَ وَقَلْبُهُ مُطْمَئِنٌ بِالْإِيمَانِ, except what is being compelled under force, yet his heart is full of Iman. If he has done kufr, and this kufr is not being taken responsible for that, then we could say as well the same thing regarding a person who is under the gunpoint to eat or drink, and he had done so, yet that food and that drink will not invalidate his fast because he's been forced, he did not have his choice. So those are the 4 conditions that we have mentioned. After this, we'll leave you to ask the question that you want, but before you ask the question, I'm going to ask some questions as well. So the question number 1, I ask, if a person had fornicated, and he was, a person was married, and he came to us, and he said, I have somebody, or he came to us, he said, I fornicated. He said to him, well, then you have to be stoned. We said to him, he says to us that verily I didn't know that fornication is haram. Because maybe he is a revert. Do we stone him or we don't stone him? Do we punish him? We don't punish him. Please elaborate, put your finger up before it. Further, doctor.
We do not stone him because he did not have the rule.
Very good. So we do not do anything to him, but we tell him it's haram now because he did not know the knowledge of the rule. He was ignorant regarding the ruling of the matter. He was totally ignorant. Right. Second question. Person who had a bunch of grape, he's been eating grapes while he was fasting. He forgot. While he was eating, he had eaten most of the plate, except for one grape. For the last grape, he remembered, or somebody told him, you fasted. Okay, so he said, well, I'm eating the whole plate, might as well take the last one. So he took the last one. Is he broken the fast, or he forgot? Further.
Broken the fast from the last grape.
So all the previous grapes did not break his fast, except for that last one. He said, might as well take the last one, because I've already taken them. So the last one is the one broken the fast, not the bunch of raisin. Correct. Person who had come to the masjid and he prayed, quick. Ruku' sujood, quick. And he came to you, what do you say to him? Do you say to him, repeat the prayer? Or do you say to him, brother, by the way, are you knowing the rule of the ruku' and the sujood? What do you tell him? Person, you see him praying for him. What do you say to him now?
Just advise him.
Advise him what? To do the prayer again? Or
No, advise
so
him.
the prayer is acceptable?
Because he's
Done. The prayer is done. Now,
advise him and explain him that he is not a good play.
this is a very delicate question. You have to remember to use the principle. Done.
We do advise him, but we have to tell him he has to repeat the prayer.
Why?
Because he was ignorant of something which is obligation upon him.
What is the obligation?
The ruku',
Very good.
and the sujood.
See, that's why you have to remember the principle. The ruku' and the sujood, you are compelled to do. Ma'murun bih. If you left that, it's an excuse for you to be not sinned. But you're not an excuse for you that the act is unacceptable. And the proof of that, the Prophet of Allah, when he saw that man, that big man, he came and prayed fast. So what did he say to him? Repeat the prayer. He did the same thing. He's ignorant, he doesn't know. Ignorant of what? Something which is compulsory upon him, which is what? The tranquility. Ma'mur. Tranquility is a pillar. Because of this, tell him to repeat. Say. But the ones that done before, he was what? Ignorant of the whole rule. But the one in front of him, he has to repeat it. But the ones before, he can't do all of that. All his life he's been praying. So this one has to repeat it because he had left what? Something which is what? Compulsory to do. So if you have seen now, somebody had shown his awrah. I've just seen somebody while I was praying just before my sunnah, somebody praying with his backside showing. The whole line, half of his line showing. Okay? I pull. So what are you supposed to do before I? You've seen something like this. What you should do? Yalla, fadal ya sheikh. Yalla, you are the sheikh now. Don't worry. What should you do? No. He is the sheikh, not you. Yes, fadal. What are you going to tell him? You've seen somebody, half of his back, buttocks is showing. What are you going to go tell him? So what he's trying to tell him, raise his trousers up. Okay. You could do more than that. You could just pull it. Pull that down like this, on top of this. Okay. Now he pulled it. He showed his aura, part of his prayer. Is his prayer valid or not valid? Is valid or not valid? So why should you then tell him to cover it? Tell him to break it. Why should you tell him to cover it? Brother, play the game now.
It's valid.
It's valid.
From that point on,
What is your proof it is valid?
because from the point you told him to pick it up correctly,
Mm.
he knows that's required to.
Right, okay. Very good. What as well? Proof from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Remember the Prophet prayed with what? With shoes? Got what? Najasa, impurity. Part of his prayer was with najasa. Yet he did not repeat the prayer. He just took what? The shoes off while he was praying. That's the proof. So, he pulled it. Now this person did not pull it. This is the question now. Use the principle. He finished his prayer. He realized his backside was showing. Does he repeat the prayer? Or he doesn't? Remember that we said about the najasa, he doesn't have to repeat the prayer. You remember if he forgot it, or he didn't know the rule. So what about the awra? Why?
Because he must.
Very good. That's the principle. Even though he's ignorant, but this is something compulsory to do. It's not a mahdhur to embark upon. Because it's compulsory to do, to cover your awra, then you do what? You have to repeat that prayer. Is that understood? Because he had left something which is he commanded to do. He left the wudu, he left the covering the awra. But the najasa is a mahdhur, something which is prohibited to do. So if you have done it without realizing, you are ignorant about the rule, you forgot, then you don't have to repeat the prayer. Okay? That's how you distinguish between this and that. Okay. Right, after this we'll leave to question, inshallah, the question. Now.
Checking the person, the husband and wife who have intercourse in Ramadan while they're both fasting. Point 4, I'm just want to check my note because you said free a slave and then 2 fast 60 days and then 3 feast 4 people. Did you then say the next one's negotiable or no?
Negotiable what?
Yeah, I thought you said after that negotiable or after. Is it just free a slave fast 60 days?
Oh, the negotiable point is that you have to stop eating the rest of the day. So when he had intercourse, well, some of the scholars, they said that they cannot eat after that, even though he broke the day, but as a punishment, he can't have that pleasure of that day. Do you understand me? We say it's negotiable because we don't have a proof of that. Now,
So the second example of is the kafara explanation where the person made his wife as mother's back and then he did intercourse during the night time even.
there's 2 people, one during the day and one during the night.
So still the kafara same was upon
I have said that person, he said that you are like the back of my mother. You say like you are the back of my mother, then you have the same kafara. Breaking, not the oath. This is not an oath. This is the back of your mother. Person who said that, then if he had violated it, it's the same penalty as the person who had broken and he had violated his fast by intercourse during the day. Okay? So this person, kafaratul dhihar, is similar to the kafara of the what? Of the person who intercourse with his wife. The same kafara. So what about the kafara of the person who is killing somebody out of mistake? Is it the same kafara or not? Somebody killed someone by mistake. Like for example, he was driving 50 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour, he knocked somebody down. What is the kafara for that? Is it the same? Come on guys. I've done that on talk. Huh? But is it the same kafara? No. What is the difference? Huh? Do it voluntary? What do you mean voluntary? Okay, you forgot already. Same. It's not the same, but that's what I wanted you to say. It's the same because he said the same because he's got knowledge. It's the same term regarding the freeing of the slave. Same for the 60 days, but there is no feeding for 60 days. It's the same, but except for the last one. The only kafara which is similar to the kafara of intercoursing with your wife while you are fasting in Ramadan, while fasting is obligatory upon you, is the lihar. Exactly the same. But killing somebody by mistake, that is kafara. Is either freeing a slave if you can't, then fasting 60 people. Fasting 60 days, there is no feeding 64 people. Okay? In the ayah. طيب. قلب يا أخي. قلب يا شيخي. Brother, come here. Like, this is not right. You should sit down there. Jazakallahu khayran ya habibi. Keep further out.
You mentioned regarding the covering the aura is fard. Isn't it fard to have the najasa removed from the clothing one? Because I don't understand why one he forgot and he was alright.
My dear, there is something called mahdhur and there is something called ma'mur. Something which is prohibited and something which is being compulsory. The prohibited is compulsory to remove, but it's prohibited. Do you understand that? It's not clicking. Okay, is it prohibited to make wudu? But it's prohibited to put najasa. Can you distinguish between the two? Yeah, it's compulsory to do the wudu, and it's compulsory to remove the najasa. But when you do the najasa, you're committing prohibition. When you do the wudu, you're not committing prohibition. You're doing something which is an order. Okay? So don't confuse other people, because it clicked with you as well. So, the person, when he is leaving something which is compulsory, is different from embarking upon something which is prohibited. Mahfuz. That's the difference, a very delicate difference. In both ways, I'm commanded to leave the prohibited, and I'm commanded to do the compulsory. But the compulsory is not prohibited in itself. Okay? So I'm prohibited from putting najasa on me. And it's compulsory for me to remove it. Do you understand that? So, فعل المحظور وترك المأمور. To leave something which is compulsory and embark upon something which is prohibited. This is number two. A very hard line between them, but you have to understand them. Come on, I'm asking you. استقبال القبلة. Facing the qibla. Is it مأمور or محظور? No, okay. Ma'mur means compulsory, mahdur means prohibited. Do you understand that now? Jazakallah. The najasa, mahdur, not ma'mur. You can't be doing something mahdur. Okay? Sure. Jazakallah. Any other questions? Fadlan? You have to have marital relationship, yes? You mean intercourse? When you say marital relationship, it's a very big word. I use it sometimes if it's kids. Go on. So can I eat food? Well, I mean, this is a long story. Just ask the food like this. Can I eat food while I'm in janaba? Simple question like that. So why do you have to go sahur and that? Simple question. Can I eat food while I'm in janaba? Can I eat food while I'm in janaba or not? But what is the sunnah? The sunnah to make ghusl. To make ghusl, which we call from the ghusl mustahab is, that is, from the ghusl mustahab is before you eat the food, you have ghusl. But this is mustahab, a command. It is not compulsory. Alright? So, if a person wants to intercourse again, it's mustahab to have a ghusl. Gives you power. If he wants to drink, if he wants to eat food in the hadith, then he will have a ghusl again.
So the question is, only got 5 minutes before Fajr.
What's that to do with the food? So the question is based upon, can I be on janaba while I'm fasting or not? That's the question. It's a different question. I'm asking you. You have to read in front of the teacher, you have to answer. You can't be. So if somebody else, for example, had a wet dream and he woken up after Fajr, his fast is broken? But he woke up during the Dhuhr. Half of his day is gone with janaba on him. I'm stretching the extreme so you can make you understand. His day is accepted or not? Come on. Be enough, brave enough to say it. Alhamdulillah. You're right to the conclusion. You're breakers of the fast. Did I say janaba? I did not. I mentioned, remember, 7. 2, which is not under your choice. 5, under your choice. None of them is called being on janaba. I said even ejaculation, never mind being ejaculation, while you are and you are awake, it does not break your fast. Okay? I mentioned that. So you have to understand from this, if a person walking, this is from the permissible things. If you are a wet dream, and you walking up 5 minutes before Fajr, before the dawn, you don't have to have a ghusl. You could carry on with your janaba until you pray the Fajr. Is that understood or not? So you could have the state of janaba until you pray, because you can't pray with janaba on. But you could fast while the janaba is on. The janaba does not break your fast. Does that make it really clear for you now? Good. Very well done. So the person is allowed to kiss his wife, isn't he? Oh, Prophet ﷺ, he said to kiss while he's fasting. Aisha, she says, you have a good example in the Prophet of Allah that he used to kiss while he's fasting. Urwa, her nephew, says, I bet it was you. She smiled. Because this is, it's the auntie, Kali. I bet it was you that used to kiss. She laughed, she smiled. Yes, it was her. He used to kiss her and you go to the masjid and do the prayer. He used to kiss her and stay fasting. No problem about that. The Prophet ﷺ used to make mubashara. كان يباشر وهو صائم. وأيكم أملك لإربه. And who's in control of his irb? Irb here is a true interpretation. Either the shahwa or the intercourse. But here the intercourse, because the Prophet ﷺ's companions, like Abdullah ibn Abbas, when a man came to him, he said, Ya ibn Abbas, I got married during the month of Ramadan with my cousin. I don't encourage anybody to get married during the month of Ramadan. Because you're going to be, in dilemma. So postpone it after Ramadan, or well before Ramadan, but not in Ramadan. So, what can I do now? Is it possible for me to kiss Ibn Abbas? Can you control yourself? Control yourself for what? In the intercourse. Not control yourself for lust or not lust. There's no such thing, kiss without lust. What should you kiss them? Lust is there. Shahwa is there. Can you control yourself? That means not to go into the intercourse? Yes. Oh, yes. He wants more. Is it permissible for me, Ibn Abbas, to make mubashara? Mubashara means, I told you, skin to skin, without any clothes. Can you control yourself? He says yes. And make mubashara. Ya Ibn Abbas, is it permissible for me to put my hand on a private part? Can you control yourself? Yes. Go on, you're good. No problem. So the person can control himself from not going into the intercourse, no problem. But as I said a number of times, من حام حول الحمى أوشك أن يقع. Prophet said, he who grazes his sheep around the pasture which belonged to somebody else, the sheep is bound to go up into that land which doesn't belong to him. And that is why the Prophet of Allah, one day, he was sitting, companions around him. One person came and he's asking a question. Messenger of Allah, can I kiss while I'm fasting? Prophet looked at him, yes, you can kiss. Here. Another person came, he asked the same question. Can I kiss Messenger of Allah? He said, no. So some of the clever companions around him, Messenger of Allah, you've been asked the same question, but you gave different answers. Yes and no. You asked for the first one, Prophet looked at him, he's an old. He could control his what? His shahwa not to go to the intercourse. And as the other one, he's young. He's not going to be controlled, his shahwa. But I'm just saying, this is not no to him is haram. He's taking an advice from the Prophet of Allah, don't kiss. Because you might go into the intercourse. But some people who are young, they've got their lust as an old man. And some old men are very hot. So it depends upon the person himself. Each person, I cannot determine for you. You have to determine for yourself. Because I receive questions from even old men and young people. When they started with a kiss, they ended up with what? Empty clothes. What should I do? Oh, free a slave? I don't, well, there's no slave. Fast 60 days. Come on, man. Yes? I didn't know about that. Well, you have to do it. But I'm not going to tell him the hadith that two companions who said, I can't do the 60 days, because he might say, I can't do the 60 days. He could. He could do the 60 days. But this is what happens. If the person go around something that he might fall into. So keep away from the hudud. Keep away from the hudud. Make yourself between you and the hudud a barrier. But I'm just saying, each person, he is the mufti for himself regarding this issue. You will know how control you are onto yourself. Okay? But I would say, as a person, please don't preoccupy the ustad, the sheikh, the scholar, the da'iyah about these questions. Every time Ramadan comes in, can I kiss? Can I do this? I'm not going to throw that. Some of the words are even worse. Can I do this? Ramadan, just Ramadan, you're asking. Why just can we do it after Ramadan and before Ramadan? Why do you have to really give us a headache with this question? Why this question comes in Ramadan? It's like the appetite of the person for the food, appetite as well for the same thing happens. The appetite opens for both ways, for the lust and for the food. One of the brothers, he was walking with me on Friday in Jumu'ah, in one of the supermarkets in Darwin. He said, can you do this? Everything's sparkling. All these pickles are sparkling. Already Ramadan came to his mind and his stomach is signaling. Ding, 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 you know? He wants to have this and that. Everything's sparkling. Everything's nice. This is before we enter Ramadan. You know, it just commands from his stomach to his brain. You know, this and that. And that's why in the month of Ramadan you'll find all types of food you've never dreamt of. Huh? There are food that you only find one in Ramadan. So for example, Pakistani, Ruh Afza. I'm waiting for it. The pinkish drink with pistachios. You only find in Ramadan. Throw up, akhi. You're not funny normally. I don't know what the Somali have. Sambosa in Somali. We have gatayif, you see. Sweet ones, pancakes like this, we have gatayif. All in Ramadan. No. Apart from Ramadan, we don't see it. Because it's the command of the stomach. Please have the milk of such and such bird, and such. Birds you never heard of. Yes, uncle. Somebody told me that, I'm sorry about this, uncle. Wallahi.
I'm learning all the time.
Yakumullah.
The brother has done his suhoor, and then he lost his when he went back to the wudu, and while he was bending down to wash his feet, part of his foot in his throat, and he swallowed it. Should he have swallowed?
Okay, let's just put this question to the panel now. We've got, mashallah, muftis. Yalla, ya Ahmed, jawab this question. You heard the question. Then you talk to him, not to me.
I think it depends if the intention is swallowing to.
His question was clear. Okay, repeat the question, uncle. Jazakallah khair. The long one.
While he was doing having lost the part of his foot, he bent down to wash his feet, and part of his foot came in his throat, he swallowed it. Should he have swallowed it or not?
Sorry. He's still fasting at the moment. He's still fasting, so if he intentionally is going to swallow it, it should invalidate it. If he swallows it by accident, then it won't invalidate it.
You understand that, uncle? So this person, he went down to wash his feet. Something came out of his mouth. Yes? From fruit. Why did he swallow it, uncle?
It was an involuntary act. He just swallowed it
Without him, no involuntary immediately, without his control.
without control.
Without control doesn't break his fast. Khalas. If you go without his control. But let me tell you everything, brothers. And uncle included. Everybody should know that if a person had some, let's say, blood coming out of his gums, okay, and he swallowed that blood, does not break his fasts. The principle says that the breaking of the fast has to come from where? From outside. Okay? So learn that principle. From outside. From outside, not from yourself. So your phlegm, if you have came out from your mouth and stayed in your mouth and you swallowed it, it will not break the fast, but it's disgusting. Same thing with swallowing the blood. It's disgusting. You should take it out. But it does not make your fast. But if you took your phlegm, sorry, now I'm going to put you disgusting. If you took your phlegm with your tongue out and you brought it back again, that's when it breaks the fast. Do you understand now? Because you got it from outside. That's puts me off, yeah, uncle. Further.
My sister has become pregnant every 2 years for 6 years with 3 children, and husband passed on the told. What should she do?
So she was pregnant during the month of Ramadan. Yes?
No,
She was breastfeeding during the month of Ramadan.
breastfeeding, she could normally breastfeed every 2 years.
So she was breastfeeding during the month of Ramadan, and she did not fast because she knew that there was an option for her, that she doesn't have to fast. For how many years, uncle?
3 children, that's 6 years she has not fasted.
So she, every time there's Ramadan, she will be breastfeeding, mashallah. Mashallah. Yeah, well, she doesn't have to make up for this fast. She just will pay fidya, uncle. The fidya is to feed a poor person for every day that she broke the fast. So how many days now? 90 days? Yeah, it has to be feeding now 90 people. One person, 90 meals. Or 3 people, 30 meals each. As long as she gives 90 meals, it doesn't matter how many poor people. She'll feed them proper food, that means like an average of her food. That's the best thing. So, what is, for example, in our country, was being asked by the Uncle Kbal, how much does it cost in Jordan now to feed a person who is for fidya? So I phoned the brothers who are in charge there, because before it was £3, it is more than enough, but because your pound has dropped down now, okay? So he said, no, we need just, to be, make sure that £3.25, so I said to £3.50, because of the pound dropping down. And what is the food is there? We'll give him the meat and the rice and the drink. So it's like a full meal for each person. That's how these people are educated, not just trustworthy. Because I remember I told you a number of times, don't give your money to somebody just trustworthy. You have to give him trustworthy plus what? Got knowledge. Because knowledge, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And you have to redo it again. And remember, you feed after you break the fast. So the woman who is, for example, going to be breastfeeding for the next Ramadan, she does not feed now before Ramadan. And she does not feed in the beginning of the day, the whole days. It has to be, first of all, break the day. And then you feed. You cannot pay the penalty before you're being penalized. And I'll give an example which is for the students. You cannot give £100 to the policeman to say to him, this is for next week's speeding. Can't say that. Next week's speeding. You have to speed and then you pay the ticket. Same thing, you have to break the day, and then feed. So it doesn't matter if you broke the day in the morning, you could feed on the same day, no problem. As long as you broke the day, but not to feed before that day starts. Okay?
Is the after Ramadan then?
You could do them day by day, you could do them up to every 2 days, you could do them up to 5 days. Okay?
So somebody is sick as well.
Same thing, sick. But sick, what type of sickness? I'll tell you what, each question now is going to be answered by you guys. Somebody says he's sick, what are you going to ask him? What is the sickness of it? Is it chronical or non-chronical? Chronical, that means long-term illness. Then he is included in the ayah. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Yes, he will do the same thing as the pregnant and the breastfeeding. Alright? Now.
So in the fidya for the breastfeeding women.
For the fidya? Fidya.
I know somebody who knows she's not going to fast. She has arranged to provide fasting for the whole month, so that person can fast. He doesn't have food. So she's providing for somebody who's poor, and that person's going to use the food to do his fasting or her fasting for the previous month of Ramadan.
This person, he's got to pay the fidya. So he's providing the poor person who's taking the fidya for what? To break his fast?
To break his fast.
Yeah, no problem. But as long as,
Be after.
so be after.
So like gave the whole month supply at the beginning. So
As long as he uses that supply
for the fast.
for the fasting, because it will be very good on the same day, yes. But if he's going to use that supply before Ramadan, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter whether a poor person receives a supply. It doesn't matter when he's going to eat that supply. So if I provided him with a breaking of the fast or a meal, but that meal has to be eaten after my day's broken, if it's in the morning, just after the day broken, then no problem. Before that is not allowed. Now, further down.
Regarding the cook can taste the food when he is fasting. And someone who's not a cook, for example, if you're putting in juice to for your child, when you mix it correctly, do you taste it?
So you need to use it. Even if it's not cooking, not cooking. Is the person who is in need to taste something allowed to taste? Tasting the food is allowed. Okay? Tasting the food is allowed. Because he's not going to be swallowing it, as long as you take it out. So it's in the tongue. You take the tongue is the taste. You spit it out. But we said, not everybody is to taste. It's for the person who's cooking. The person who's in need. So he's asking of a child, I want to taste if the milk is good or not, and mixing the milk or whatever. You have no problem because you are the one who's giving the milk. So you've tasted it, and you say it's okay. But not now to come your wife, can I taste it again as well? Khalas, one person tastes it. Why should be two people now? And then with an argument, no, it's not sweet, let me just taste it again. So they'll be tasting more than 3-4 times, that's what they're doing. Now, we say take it in a way which is sensible.
Do you have to pay fidya on behalf of someone who is senile? Someone who's old and
Somebody who is old. Somebody who's old, but this old person, he doesn't know what he's doing. Is it the same thing as somebody who is like, for example, crazy? Somebody who is insane. Okay. Can the person who is insane, do we pay fidya on him or we don't? We don't. So the person who's chronically ill, do we pay fidya on him or not? So why did you say the insane though? The pen is removed. Okay. Is the pen is removed, is it removed from the child or not? Okay. Do we pay zakat fitr on him or not? But the pen is removed. The pen is removed. But you pay fidya for it. Subhanallah, alladhi la ilaha illa hu. By the way, 99% of the scholars, they say, yes, you pay fidya on him. Alright? So even as a senile, even you reach the age where he doesn't know what he's doing, you have to pay the what? The fidya. Once he reach the age of puberty, then he is under the rule. So if, for example, something that you could pay on his behalf, you have to pay it. If something to do with the prayer, you don't pray on behalf. But for the fasting, I have to. Okay? If he's rich, he has to pay the what? From his money? The zakah. His inherited money. So he has to. So the senile, adult person, we say, yes, we pay on his behalf fidya, just like we pay his zakat al-fitr on his behalf. But there is, Sadiq Hassan Khan, he says, no, the senile, there is no fidya on him. Do you understand me? So I just said to you, there are few scholars that say there is no fidya on him. Now, further. Count down the sun, it depends where you are. Usually it differs from one place to another. What you need to do now, you do your homework and bring it back here to me. And tonight, I'm not sleeping because I'm going to measure the Fajr. So I allocated where I'm going to be going, so I'm going to see the Fajr. Because most of the massages these days are doing their Jama'ah very early. Very early. The Fajr, go to a spot into your area where there is massive field. So there is no street lights. Okay? And then look towards the east where the sun comes in. And look for the first streak of light, which is like a strip of light comes in. That's it. And you look now, starting from the time, you could just count from the time which is 3 o'clock. I mean, it's not going to come out until maybe 15 or 10 past or 20 past or whatever. But from 3 o'clock, just watch. And you would be able to record it for us as well. It would be good as well to watch for that. Please as well, at the same time, you can locate yourself for the west to look for the sunset, to see what time is the sunset according to the timetable of yours, in the Fajr. If you are able, if you are good in it, one day will be enough. But if you're not, maybe you have to watch, tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. If you know it, it's one night, inshallah, will be enough. Now, eating a piece of the skin. So you swallowed it or you didn't swallow it? So if a person had swallowed a piece of skin, he's coming to you. What are you going to tell him? Yalla, you tell him. You answer the question. Somebody says, I have a piece of my skin, I swallowed it. What are you going to tell him? Yes, I did intention. Alright. Well, brother, I didn't know that the skin breaks my fast. So you should have asked me, did you know that the skin breaks the fast? I didn't know that it breaks the fast. I knew that if you eat food, but not the skin. I didn't know the skin, you know. You're going to break my fast or you're going to let me okay? Okay, let it be off. Please let me off. Okay, that's a good one. What do you think, guys? He's okay? I didn't know, because if I said to you, I drank some tea, brother. You're going to ask me, did you know that tea is going to break the fast? No, of course, I know. But this is a skin piece of paper, you know, people, they don't know. But something that I drank tea. I'm not going to ask him, did you know that tea breaks the fast? If it's a revert, maybe he doesn't know. He thinks it's just water. Some of the reverts, you're allowed to drink any type of liquid except for water. Yes. But if it's not revert, I'm not going to ask him the tea. Now, further.
That's smoke, breaks the fast.
Smoke. Smoking cigarettes.
No, not cigarettes, smoke.
Smoke. You mean like normal
Any smoke.
fire around?
Fire on cooking food, fire on people eating food.
So okay. So he's cooking food. Where are you cooking food? What, on the charcoals or on a piece of wood or?
On wood or charcoal.
You're not cooking the gas. You don't have fire, do
No,
you?
because the question is about, you said bukhur is something.
Yeah. Ensigns of the bakhur, you see, the ensigns, the heavy ones, they do have, we call it in Arabic, jirm. Jirm means like particles. When you take it inside, you could see lots of things, little bits of things. And it's not smelling it like this. No. It's smelling it like what? Clothes. And I'll give you an example which makes it, inshallah, to solve your problem. Person who is smoking cigarettes, you know the cigarettes got like that nicotine, which is the red. If he smokes the cigarettes, breaks his fast or not? I'm asking. Because that thing, it stays, leaves in the mouth, and that doesn't swallow it. It leaves germ. That's why it leaves spots into your lungs and into your stomach as well. Very bad for both. So that smoke, okay, it will break the fast. But I am next to somebody who's a smoker. Do I break my fast? You know, I'll tell you what, if you do that, you're going to have, for example, in European countries, these Eastern European countries, they smoke a lot. You could go into a commuter or whatever, and everybody's smoking. And you'll be in the middle. If he breaks the fast, I'm not broke my fast. But if this person is between two smokers and he like it, come on, brother, more of that Marlboro. He's not putting the cigarette in his mouth, but he's smelling it, he's inhaling it, and it breaks the fast. Okay, so no, your cooking is not. Okay, as long as you don't go curry, smelling it like this deliberately, then you will break the fast because you will carry some germs, some particles, germs in Arabic. No, fasting. To do with the fasting. Anything to do with fasting. Yalla ikhwan, asthma inhalers, I haven't heard about it. Nobody's got asthma these days. But nah. As siwak, you could make siwak as much as you want. As long as you don't really chew the one with a piece of wood and swallow it. You just spit it out. So if there's some wood came out from that toothpick, if you swallow it by accident, no problem. But if you deliberately did that, it will break your fast. That siwak, it doesn't matter whether it is siwak, which is siwak flavor, non-siwak flavor, any flavor, onion flavor. Have you heard about onion flavor? I've never heard about that. Any type of flavor, it does not break the fast because it's always outside. You're not putting it inside. But the piece of wood, it will. Okay, well, chewing gum. Does it break the fast? I'm not just doing, I'm not doing anything inside. Does it break the fast?
I read in a book, it doesn't break the fast.
Okay, read in a book. What type of book is that? Libyan books, we don't trust them. Okay, if I chew the gum and don't take it down inside anything, of course it doesn't break the fast. But the ones who chew the gum, usually they take in their saliva. True or not? That saliva carries particles and will break the fast. Okay? So those particles are very tiny. So if you are outside, and I don't advise you to do that, and you spit it out, it will not break the fast. It's like this in the food. But you start swallowing it, then it will break the fast. Nails, what's wrong with it? You're going to eat your nails? You're going to eat your nails, are you? You're going to swallow your nails? No, cutting your nails will not break the fast. Fadl. What time are you that? 12. Yeah. Very good question. Like, so what is the penalty of breaking the fast? So if I have eaten deliberately during the day of Ramadan, I'm gonna be being a slave? Is that what you understood from me? Let me just now, that opens me up another gate now. What is the one that incur upon you the heavy penalty of those breakers? Which one, Fadal? Sexual intercourse. Do you understand that? So if I ate banana, well, I'm not supposed to eat banana during the day of Ramadan, I'm sin, but I'm not having the penalty of that, you know? So if I eat a banana deliberately, and I'm not ill, I'm not a traveler, I'm supposed to fast. I broke the day, so what is going to compensate for that day? Fadal.
Fast another day.
You're going to do nothing?
You have to, but
Tell me, ya Sheikh, tell me. What you have done is a major sin. This major sin is not going to be compensated by fasting a day. Or like the hadith which is unauthentic fasting, how many? 60 days. Or some of the hadith says fasting the whole year. لَمْ يَقْضِهِ صِيَامُ الدَّهْرِ كُلِّهِ. Even the whole year will not be enough. All of that is unauthentic. But you have to repentance. Why repentance and no heavy penalty like the other one? You see, the intercourse, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that your lust of yours, it dragged you into it, which is more of an excuse than having food. You understand that? So the other one, you fast a day instead of it, isn't it? The intercourse. But this one, which is more going to be a crime, is the one who got no expiation. That's why the Prophet said, Khamsun, this fasting, there's no kafara in it. So there's no kafara means what? It's heavy penalty. Because there's a kafara, it's expiate. One of them is the Yamin al-Ghamus. The oath, that is, you make it and you're lying. We call it al-Yamin al-Ghamus. It will dip you to the hellfire. There's no kafara. So if you have made an oath by Allah, he had done this, and he hasn't done it, and you're a liar, then you have to be repentance to Allah. And there's no expiation, for example, if you feed a poor person or if you free a slave. No, it's worse. Okay? So those people who are eating the days of Ramadan and they're not allowed to eat, they have to fear Allah and repent to Allah before the day. They're going to be punished by being hooked from their hamstring and head down, and their cheeks being torn off and shedding blood because they have eaten the food and they're not supposed to eat the food. Now, follow.
So the youngsters, 15, 16 years old, they might find difficult because long days fast and they're going to school.
The 15 years old, 16 years old, they might find it difficult because they're going to school.
And the days are long.
And the days are long. I haven't finished it. And this day is long. So, can they not fast or not? First of all, we say, these young boys, either they are adults or not adults. Any child who had reached the 15 years old, that means he finished it, not started it, he had what? Completed the 15 years old, which is lunar month. That is 14 and a half solar system. If he completed that, he's an adult. He could be an adult before that. Then he's required to fast. Just like you were keen to make him to go to the school, you make him keen not to go to school and make him fast a day. If he comes to do school, which is physics and maths, and fulfilling Allah's obligation, which one takes precedence? I mean, is there any comparison here? For those people who work very hard, take the days off. If you're working very hard in the month of Ramadan, take the days off. You're not going to be getting poor, are you? But the dunya, you're hooking into it. You don't want to leave the dunya. So either you make your work half work, or you stop the work for a whole month, take it a holiday. Allah will give you, compensate you, because you want to do it with ibadah. So we have enough excuses for us, enough. So this is the month, and it's going to go like this quickly. Imagine you don't really feel with the Muslims and everybody's fasting. You find the children, they love to fast. Don't get them used to break their fast. Make them to be in the environment. Whether they're long days, whether they are 15 years old, whether they've got GCSEs exams and all of that. But if in the day, for example, that child collapses, we'll give him food straight away. But we don't give him the food because we are in fear that he might collapse. Because we are in fear he is 15 years old. Because we are in fear that it's a long day. We don't do that. جزاكم الله خيرا وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك.